Today's episode is brought to you by Fulton, a modern brand of arch support. Fulton launched the most comfortable, supportive, and sustainable insole on the planet. Fulton insoles have a deep heel cup and a comfortable arch support that aligns your body from head to toe. They're using sustainable materials like vegan cactus leather and cork, allowing them to mold to the shape of your arch and provide customized support. They are also shock absorbing, reducing impact on the body, and are aligned with natural foam to make them extra comfortable. Back in 2011, I broke my ankle. That's a story for another day. Anyway, since then, me and cute shoes have not gotten along. I have to wear shoes that give me the best support for my ankles, but in heels, child, when I wear heels, I have to wear insoles or I'll be looking crazy because I need all the support. If you are in need of insoles that provide customized support, Fulton is offering our listeners $10 off your next purchase at walkfulton.com by using the code POD10. That's code POD10 for $10 off at walkfulton.com. Check out the website to see how Fulton can support you. Hey y'all, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I really wanted to review 3 conversations that I had with some really dope therapists previously on the show. You will hear conversations about the importance of emotional wellness, healing, and anxiety during the pandemic. Now, at the time when some of these episodes were recorded, we were in a different season of our life, and maybe it made sense then, but I feel like over the last year that we've actually had, that some of these conversations are even more important now. And so I hope that there is something that you'll be able to gain from this. I hope that there is something in this conversation that resonates with you. If you feel like you are in a place where you do need some support from a therapist or a counselor, if you go to my website, www.feliciawallace.com, there's a resource tab that has a few of these ladies' practices because they're in the DMV area, but also there's links for you to be able to search a therapist within your area. Y'all know that I am an advocate for therapy, and so I will tell you therapy and Jesus, they both work. So if you feel like that's something that you need, definitely go to the page and go ahead and get connected with somebody. I'd also like to hear whether or not you want these ladies back on the show, and maybe we can have a completely different conversation. There's a form in the bio where you can click and make a topic suggestion for the show. But until then, y'all go ahead and listen to this episode. You're listening to the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast, where we empower women of faith to identify, acknowledge, and accept their doubts and limits and beliefs in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Valyncia Graham holds many titles, including therapist, minister, speaker, and author. She is a licensed clinical professional counselor in the state of Maryland. She is also a nationally certified counselor. She is the owner and director of clinical programs Unstuck Counseling Services in Laurel, Maryland. Valyncia has a passion for helping her clients overcome their hurts, help them to create new experiences in the context of a safe, accepting, and non-judgmental therapeutic relationship. She is here today to talk about the journey of healing by using her 5-step approach to freedom, which includes truth, acceptance, grief, boundaries, and risk. Welcome back to another episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast. I am here with Valyncia Graham from Unstuck Counseling. Thank you for being with us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, I am so excited about this conversation, y'all. It's about to look, we had started and then I had to stop because it was about to be too good. Okay. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your, the Unstuck Counseling, I don't want to say office, business, Unstuck Counseling. How about that? We just leave it at that. Yes.
So I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. I'm nationally certified, meaning that I took this test and I'm like, good throughout the entire United States. And then I'm licensed by the state of Maryland as a professional counselor.
Okay.
So what does that mean? That means I'm a psychotherapist. I sit in an office with a closed door and I talk to people all day. More than that, I listen.
Yeah.
And when there's a way that you listen. There's a method to it. I mean, there really is a skill that goes into being a therapist, a social worker, a counselor, whatever term you want to use. It really is a skill. We're not just listening as a friend would. We're listening for, well, I am listening for behavior patterns. I'm listening to tone of voice. I'm watching your body language.
Yeah.
90% of communication is nonverbal. So
That's
I
very
have
true.
to be looking at what you do.
Yeah.
Which is why sometimes video counseling is kind of ineffective, because you could be twitching.
Yeah.
Your leg could be shaking. You could have just a ton of anxiety
But
that
the
I
only
can't
people,
see.
you can
Right.
only see your face. Yeah.
Yeah. And so listening, and I'm really to help people make connections, and bring together patterns in their own lives so that they can bring about their own healing. It's not my job to do. It's not the therapist's job to bring about healing. We just create an environment where you feel safe enough to heal.
Wow. See, you about to start already. Yeah,
so that's what I do. And I do it. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You do it.
I do it at Unstuck Counseling, which is, I thought about who my favorite clients were, and all of them were stuck. And so that's how I came up with the name Unstuck. It resonates. The minute you hear Unstuck Counseling, you know exactly what it means.
Yeah.
It's grown really quickly. I started in April 2018, just by myself in a room. I rented a room in Columbia on Saturdays.
Oh, wow.
I was open for 5 hours every other Saturday, 5 hours. It's March 2020. I think we have about 100 clients.
Wow.
I just hired my third clinician.
Wow.
And I have a part-time office manager.
Nice.
So business is good. Business is booming. But we're real about what we do. I hire therapists who really believe in the work and really can fulfill the embodiment of what it means to be a clinician at Unstuck Counseling. So my success is due to them and having a mission and sticking to it.
That is so important now that we've talked about it before. We did an episode a couple of months ago about emotional wellness, and generally, people think about it just when it has to do with, like, sometimes I think people think that they need therapy or counseling when something traumatic happens. And I definitely tell people it doesn't have to be that. Like for myself, I go to therapy, but it's not anything traumatic. It's because I suffer from anxiety where my thoughts will literally take over, which is the whole purpose of this podcast, because I can talk myself out of anything. And so it's helpful to be able to talk to somebody who doesn't know you, who never met you, but can, like you say, pay attention to those shaking of the leg or grabbing of the hands, or you don't realize you're sweating, but you're sweating because your body is saying something, even though your mouth is spewing other words,
Right.
So why do you think it's important for people to get counseling? Just for maybe a various of reasons. What do you think the biggest benefit is?
Okay, so you asked me two questions.
Okay, yeah.
So the first one is, why do I think it's important that people get counseling? Because we're human.
Yeah.
I mean, we're human.
Yeah.
We're human, and things hurt us. And when we are hurt, we don't always know it. We sometimes don't know how to process it. And more importantly, we don't understand how that wound impacts us moving forward in other relationships, even the relationship with self.
That's true.
We do a lot to maintain a certain level of, I guess, livelihood is a good word, but we do a lot of mental gymnastics to maintain a certain level of being.
Mental gymnastics. Okay. I'm with you. I am with you. Yes.
We do a lot of it to say that we're okay.
Yeah.
To show up at work and be cool, to put on all these great looking clothes, and we just, we lay it from head to toe. That takes a lot of work when you're hurting.
It's draining. It's draining to wear that mask every single day, day in and day out. Yes.
So, as long as you're living, things are going to hurt you, and it's okay.
Yeah.
We are human, and we have a right to acknowledge that something has hurt us,
Yeah.
which we haven't been able to do really in the Black community. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Black.
No, it's real.
The
It's
Black,
real.
not just African American, but
Yeah.
Black people throughout the pan. I mean, we
Yeah.
have clients that come in from Nigeria and Cameroon. You know, we international, baby.
Yes.
But I mean, that is, you know, we have had for so long. We've had to have such a tough exterior,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
just,
It's
I mean,
breaking us. It is
yeah, it's
breaking us.
poisonous after a
Yeah.
while.
It is. It's so important because now it's affecting our kids. And if we don't heal from, like, even for myself, I've said it on the show, the way I knew that I struggled with anxiety is because it showed up in my kids. And I would get so frustrated with, like, I don't understand why they so stressed out. Like, because in my mind, you don't have anything to worry about. But when I was able to see, like, oh, that is me. That's me in a, you know, in a 10-year-old's body, and I'm 30 something years old. And it's like, okay, no, you have to work on you so that you can show him how to be able to handle that and how to be able to deal with whatever it is that in their minds and whatever's going on in their lives is stressful to them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Parents teach their children how to regulate their affect. Do that by interacting with them. If the child sees you blow up, guess what the child is going to do? If the child sees you calm, cool, and collected, guess what your child is going to do? If you are a safe place for your child is going to be able to come to you with all of their emotions, because children are not regulated at all.
Right.
That's the beauty of child. That's the beauty of being a child.
Yeah.
Right. But they'll come to you and they'll trust you, and they will take that from you.
Yeah.
And so it is important that we are healthy for our children.
Yeah. That is definitely super duper important. So how has self-doubt showed up in your journey? Like,
ooh, child. Well, it shows up in a myriad of different ways. So it shows up as, I really, really wonder sometimes if I am doing the best that I can as a clinician. I wonder if I am really meeting my clients where they are. I wonder if there is too much of me in the session.
Wow.
Which, I'm a big personality, right?
Yes.
You know that. You know me from here.
Yes,
so
I do.
I come into a room and I take it over. And so part of that, I don't turn myself off when I go into a room per se, because I'm Valyncia. You know, I'm a human being, and I'm as much a part of this experience as the client.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder, like, am I telling too many jokes? Am I? That'd be funny. Like, are we laughing too much? Like, am I just really meeting my client? And I give license to my client to tell me how their experience was. If that this is helpful for them, or if it's not. And if it's not, what can we do to make it? How can we shift this environment so that the client can get what they came for?
Yeah.
So that's,
I think that's good. That's checking in, though, because I think that no matter what relationship you're in, whether it's, you know, marriage, whether it's parenting, whether it's teachers, like work, whatever the situation is, you should always check in, because you need to make sure that you're giving the person that you're serving what they need from you, you know, because once they stop receiving that, people check out. They be like, I don't need to do this anymore. Or some people are scared to say, you know, and now I'm past that point. We need to kind of get here. Or, yes, this is uncomfortable for me. And, you know, whatever the case may be, sometimes people look to whoever is leading it to be the person to know. And it's like, I don't know, because if I think I'm doing things right, I'm gonna just keep going. If it's working, it's working.
Yeah. And I have a lot of clients are not used to no, or to say that they don't like something.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, I give clients permission to disagree with me.
Yeah.
To tell, like, this is what I'm seeing. Tell me, is this your experience? Is
Yeah.
this what's happening for you? I doubt myself in terms of, I wrote this book some years ago, and I just can't seem to finish it. And I don't know. I don't know. I keep saying that I'm going to get to it, and then I never do. I had, I guess, a vision for a podcast. Actually, I really want to do YouTube channel. I want to do like I don't want to tell nobody what it is because I don't want nobody to steal it. But I want to do do videos like Unstuck Minute in a way to generate more more business for my company. But I keep saying, oh, I'm tired. As soon as I hire some more therapists, as soon as I have somebody doing all of these other things, then I can do it. Like you're right. There is something, a mental block in my head. I don't think it's fear. I'm afraid.
You're stuck.
I might be. Might be. But yeah, so I mean, it shows up. It shows up in my relationships. I mean, it shows up everywhere.
Yeah.
It shows up in every person's life. And that is, we have to be able to embrace our humanity.
And I think that is difficult for us sometimes because we're so, we get so wrapped up in what the world thinks things should be, or how things look on social media, or how people assume that how we should show up. And so I think that sometimes we get sidetracked, or we want it to look a certain way. And so we're fearful of the fact that if it doesn't look that way, that has to be, in my air quotes, wrong, right? And so if it doesn't look like how this person is doing it, then it can't be right. But one of the things that I always have to remember is that I'm me, and whoever I am is purposeful and wonderfully made. And that's what makes me unique to everybody else. I'm not going to look like everybody else. It's going to look like it's perfect for me because I'm me, and nobody can change who I am. So that definitely makes a big difference. So in your journey, what have you learned about yourself that you did not know before? See, look, just like a little unstuck unstuck session right here. Come on now. Because let me just tell you something. You put that YouTube thing, that Unstuck Minute, out in the open. Trust me when I tell you I'm gonna be looking for it, okay? And so I'm gonna keep reminding you, because now you said it out loud. You said it out loud, so we're gonna hold you accountable.
Please do. Please do. I probably need some tips from you on how to do it.
Oh, I got you, boo. I got you. We're gonna hold you. Oh, we gonna be looking forward, okay?
I'm a look. That's what I need. Sometimes I need a swift kick in my
which is what we all need.
Yeah. So what have I learned about myself?
I know. I got me having some tough questions, don't I?
Can I cuss?
Yeah.
I took a DNA test.
And turns out
I'm 100%. I mean, Lizzo said it best.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
But really?
Yeah.
I am.
You the bomb?
Yes. And not even in a, when I make statements like this, I hate that I have to qualify it.
Yeah.
Right? Or I have to put a disclaimer around it. Like, I am gifted.
Yes.
And I am purposed
to
do the work that I'm doing it and the way that I'm doing it. And that makes me the shit.
Yes, ma'am.
Because nobody can do what I can do.
Nobody can do it.
Sees it how I see it.
Yes.
Nobody can say it how I say it. Nobody can put it together. And nobody can execute the way that I can. You're going to execute, Felicia. You're going to execute the way that Felicia was.
Yes.
I execute the way that God has given it to me. And that sets me apart.
Yeah. Come on.
Right? And so because of that, I have learned that, well, one, I mean, I always knew that, but talk about building a whole business.
Yeah.
Hello. And being able to pay yourself.
Yes. That is
a
different.
livable wage.
Yes.
From your business.
Yes.
So that, but girl, I done lost my daggone point. I'm a little unorganized.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right,
And that's okay. I've
Yeah.
always known that I didn't like doing administrative stuff, and that's okay because I hired someone who's excellent at it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to put that monkey on my back.
Listen,
I can free myself up.
you got to know what your lane in your ministry is. If it ain't it, you just give it, you outsource. That don't work for me. I can't do it. You just can't.
I'm dedicated. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I'm dedicated. I have a belief, and I have a vision for what I want Unstuck Counseling to be.
Yeah.
I will not deter from it.
Yeah.
I won't.
Yeah.
I have had opportunities to do this and to do that, and that is not what I want my business to look like. That is not what I want us to do, and I'm not willing to compromise on that.
Yeah.
And so that's been rewarding for me.
Yeah.
Because it's just,
I was just talking to my cousin and I was just saying a year ago, I was struggling to try to think of what the crap I was going to talk about in the next episode, like talking myself up to do it. Like, I already did an episode and you got to do another one. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I have ideas for freaking November and it's March.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when it happens and you realize that, no, this is real. Like I can do this. I had the capability to do it. It is impactful. It is changing people's lives. It is making a difference. I'm growing. Like when you see it all come kind of full circle, even if it's not what the end goal is, but you see that the traction that you're putting in, you're seeing the results. It makes you keep going. It makes you want it, and it makes you proud of yourself. So yes, you can say, I'm the shit because I am in my lane, in my area, in the place that God has gifted me. I am doing the damn thing, and I'm gonna just keep doing it as long as I just stay
I'm
right here.
In my
I'm
lane.
gonna stay in my lane. I'm gonna mind my business. I'm over here. My lane. You over there, that's good. We all good,
Yeah.
And I think that no, that's a great self-awareness that I think that sometimes, and I like the fact that you said like we shouldn't have to like clarify, like I ain't trying to sound conceited. Right. No, we're not. It's confident because when you're confident in what you're doing, you continue to do it. To me, conceited is completely different. It's not, I think it's a way, it's an aura that you give off. That's what conceited gives off. But I think confidence is completely different. And so, yes, we should be confident in exactly what we're doing because this is what God has called us to do. And we are qualified because he called us, period. And at the end of the day, you can't take that away from us. No, so it's just, it is what it is. So today we're here to talk about healing because I think that that's a huge thing, just especially with this Women's History Month, and just really, I've really been trying to focus on topics that will help us to be able to really walk into the best versions of ourselves and to be able to walk into our God-given purposes. Like sometimes there's things that are stopping us from doing what it is that we're supposed to be doing, whether it's self-doubt, whether it's an awareness of the fact that we have more to do, more to give, or even just figuring out what it is. Sometimes it's like getting over something, getting past something, whether it was something that was done to you, you did to yourself, or just life in general, just kind of how things happen. So I wanted to talk about healing because I think it's so important, because right before this, one of the things that I said is that a lot of times people think they just get over stuff and it kind of disappeared, and so then they feel like, I don't have that problem. I'm not, this issue isn't an issue anymore because I'm over it, until something triggers them. And then it's back. And then you're like, well, where did that come from? Oh, because it was never gone. Right. So the first thing is, how do we even know we need to heal? Like,
how do you know you need to heal? And then you said like, get over it quite a few times.
Yeah. Because that's what we do, right? We just say we're going to get over it, especially as women. Like we say we're going to push through. We're going to power through that. It's all, I'll get over it. I'm fine. I'll get over it. That's usually how the sentence goes. I'm fine. Yeah. I'll get over it. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'll get over it. Yeah, I'm over it. That don't bother me no more. I ain't even tripping off of that, right? Like, okay, then. But your body language, look, y'all can't see us, but your
Yeah.
hand
No,
grabbing
right.
at the air.
Open your eyes, she come into the room, you turn
Yes.
your back the other way. Who gonna be there? Oh, she's I ain't coming.
No, right.
I don't know that there is a thing such as get over it.
I would agree.
Yeah, I don't know that thing exists. Now, I mean, I'm not Nostradamus, not at the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I can't say that I subscribe to that, because getting over it would imply that you don't have to process through it. Yeah. And so how do you know that you need healing? Have you ever been hurt? If the answer to that question is yes, then you might need a healing.
Yeah.
Well, there ain't no might.
Yeah, you do.
Some things can lose us and not really just like, oh man, that really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But on the grand scale of life, you can kind of move forward. Some other things, no. We're not, there is no getting over it.
Yeah.
There is a therapist by the name of Dr. Joy DeGury. I believe that's how you say her last name. But she has a book called Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder.
Ooh.
And in this book, she asserts that every person of African descent living in America is suffering with post-traumatic slave disorder.
Wow.
So if we think about our history in terms of, and I know our history did not start with slavery.
Right.
I'm clear about that.
Yeah.
So, all you hoteps, don't come for me. I know. But if we could just talk about how we came to America and how our very own people, our ancestors in Africa on the West Coast, sold us out.
Yeah.
Right? They sold us into slavery.
Yeah.
And so now we have the transatlantic slave trade, and we're dying by the millions. And then we get here, and now we are in this, we're slaves, and our families are being broken, and our women are being raped, and our men are being killed. And, we have all of that. Like, that is our history as we start in America, right?
Yeah.
And so that went on for years and years and years. So you and I, Felicia, we're 80s babies, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If we go back 2 generations, where are we historically? We are right at kind of the end of slavery. Yeah. So my grandmother was born in 1930. She was born on a cotton farm. She was still picking cotton.
Wow. Yeah. If you think about that. Yeah.
So, right. That's not, my grandmother is still living. My grandmother will be 90 this year. So think about that from a contextual standpoint, right?
Yeah.
So her grandmother, I don't know how old her I don't know, because my grandmother's mother passed away when she was 11.
Wow.
Either 11 or 13, right? So think about this trauma. My grandmother's born on a cotton farm to people who pick cotton and still worked in North Carolina, okay? So we're in the Jim Crow South. Imagine what it is for my grandmother to move to DC with all of that trauma and losing her mother. Think that she inflicted trauma on her kids?
Right. And it just gets passed down from generation to generation.
Right. So now we're talking intergenerational trauma before you were even born.
Yeah.
Right? So to say that we are not hurting couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. And some of it is that you don't even know. Like I said earlier, sometimes it takes for your kids to show you what it is that you're actually hurting from, because I would assume that whatever my nervousness and my anxiety of whatever it is didn't start in my 20s and 30s, it was likely always there, and so then you go back and you say, well, where did that come from? Where did it start? And then you keep going back and you keep going back. And when you say it like that, like now, like as you are talking about it, and I just thinking about the things that kind of run in my family, I can trace it back. You know what I mean? Like I had the opportunity that my great grandmother lived with us for about 10 years before she passed away. She was born in 1915.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when I think about that, like, dang, what did she go through that she
Yeah.
passed on to my grandmother, that then passed on to my dad, that didn't happen to me, that now was, and you think about like those things, and it's like, no, we're not that far removed.
Mm-mm. My partner's mother, his mother went to the first school that was integrated in Durham, North Carolina.
Wow.
She's
Wow.
still living. She's still healthy. So think about that. So when we think about healing, right, and we think about the levels and the layers of trauma that we've experienced, just
Yeah.
as a people, this
Yeah.
is this is before you got your heart broke at 15.
Right. Right.
This
Yeah.
is, this is before, your friends didn't want to talk to you again,
Yeah. Yeah.
in 10th grade. This is before you got crushed because you didn't get into the college of your
Yeah.
dreams,
Yeah.
or the love of your life. You found out he cheated on you. This
Yeah.
is before all of your own stuff,
Yeah.
right? We walk around with it and we don't know. And I think that the point that you make is exactly it. You're looking through your family and you're like, oh, wait, oh, you do that too? Oh, she
Yeah.
did that? Oh, she did
Yeah.
that? Oh, she did
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
so we can see these family patterns, which is, I spent a few sessions on the family dynamic. Who's in your family?
yeah.
What are some of the rules in your family? What are some of the unspoken rules? What are the indirect messages that you've received? And I
Yeah.
have a client now who, I have quite a few clients, quite a few of us 80s babies who were raised with the message that they walked away with is that if you are not accomplishing something, then you are not worth anything. And so these are the people, these are the high achievers. Like, are you getting another degree, another
Right.
certification? Like, what
Yeah.
is going on? But life, having a relationship just does not work because you
Yeah.
don't believe that you are worth anything unless you are working towards a goal. That comes from somewhere.
Yeah. And it comes at it and with a cost, because that's
Yeah.
going to cost you something, whether it's your, even if it's your peace of mind, which is, because that's
Yeah.
stressful. I couldn't imagine
It happens all the time. And
Yeah.
that's how people end up in careers at jobs that they hate.
Mm.
Yeah, it happens, right? But we have to look at not just our own stuff, our own pain, but what kind
Yeah.
of pain did your mother and your father go through? Because that pain, it came over to you.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
And
That's
they didn't
so
want it
true.
to.
Right.
They
And
didn't
even
want it to. They're not mean people. Just that's what happens when you haven't processed through your stuff.
Man, that's so deep, because when you think about it, we pass things on, that even unspoken things, you just have no idea. I remember when my youngest son was, you think of certain things, that traits or eye color, hair, stuff like that. Like, this is obvious. Like, I suffer from asthma, allergies. Both of my kids have some variation of both, right? Like, it all comes from me. So if those things are able to be passed on, what makes you think that emotional instability isn't passed on, or the way of thinking, or how you think about yourself, if that's how you're showing up to your kids, even if you're not saying it, because that goes to the whole thing of do as I say, not as I do type situation, right? But no, they still are learning from all of our behaviors like that. Wow. Yeah.
Children are sponges.
Yeah.
Just when you thought that you didn't cuss around your baby, and your baby say, "Oh shit,"
right? And you're like, "Where you hear that from?" Oh, okay, yeah. So let's be mindful about what it is that we.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it until someone is a reflection of you. Someone is, and you see it in other people. And those are one of the things that I'm always like mindful of, it in regards to like the self-awareness of being able to see yourself in your partner, see yourself in your kids, see yourself in your parents, see yourself in your friendships, because we attract what we know. We attract what we are. That's a whole different, listen, we talking about healing.
No,
okay?
but see, that is, so part of my job as a therapist is to do what is called psychoeducation. And that is to provide education on, how can I say this in a way that's not super, is to break it down for you.
Yeah.
All this clinical jargon, to break it down on a level that is understandable in 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what you just said is a lot of people believe that opposites attract, right? It's actually, that couldn't be further from the truth. It is actually familiarity that attracts. Right. And so if you are used, and I'll just use women because it happens to men too.
Yeah.
And let me just say that I have a robust clientele of men.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Unstuck Counseling was designed after the Black man. Caveat. I went to a weekend workshop where my business coach, Ajetta Robinson, made us sit in a room, in her little conference room, for 3 days, for 8 hours a day. And we did these client avatars, and we went over and over and over about who our favorite clients were. What did we like about them? What did we believe that we were able to help them do? All of the client avatars that I came up with were Black men.
Wow.
So Unstuck Counseling was really born and fashioned after the Black man. So think about this in terms of relationship patterns. Girls that have absent or emotionally unavailable fathers, guess who they end up in a relationship with?
Emotionally unavailable men.
So right, 85% of children that have an alcoholic parent marry an alcoholic.
Wow.
That is not by coincidence.
Yeah.
That is, you attract what you are familiar.
Yeah.
Right? So men who have emotionally unavailable moms, guess who they end up in a relationship with?
That's crazy.
Or men who I have quite a few men who've had really passive mothers. They feel strongly about their mother in one way or another. All of the men that have married passive women, one, they're now divorced. But secondly, they married extremely dominant women. So listen, so when I say that that these wounds go deep, scars go deep, I'm telling you real shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we explore, so who did you date before you got married? It shows up. It shows up in these patterns, right?
Yeah.
So these pattern of domineering women. Well, but I really like this girl. Well, what made you not choose this girl? Oh, she was passive, right? So yeah, it is what is familiar to us that we draw to. And so when you keep having failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship,
I'll be over here like just so intrigued and so like engulfed in the like I'm just over here like just keep going. So what would you say what are the 5 steps of healing to, like, for the person that is ready, like they are tell us what you say the 5 steps of healing are?
Well, so my 5 steps, so I'm just looking at them and I think I might need to change 1 and 2, but I'll just do it how I have it. The first thing is you need to tell the truth.
That's a tough thing for people.
Yes, it is.
Because the truth could be people. No, let me take that back. The truth is easy when you're talking about other people. The truth is difficult when you have to say it about yourself, because you got to say the good, the bad, and the ugly, and no one wants to face the ugly.
Yeah, and that's true. The other part of telling the truth is if I tell my truth, then I have to tell the truth about my mother. Wow. And then I have to tell the truth about my father.
Yeah.
I have to tell the truth about my sister. I have to tell the truth about my grandmother and all of this family dynamic that I want to protect or whatever. When I tell the truth, I have to tell the whole
truth. Yes.
And if I tell the whole truth, then I might lose some relationships.
Wow.
I might have to get a divorce.
Yeah, that'll stop you right there.
Nothing. Hear me clearly when I say this. You will not have any modicum of peace in your life. Not the peace that surpasses all understanding. You will not have that until you can tell the truth.
Wow.
You won't have it. You can't have it.
Yeah, that's so true. That trying to get me chills. Oh, that is so true.
You can't have it.
You
You
can't.
cannot have it.
Because if you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to do the work. You can't even you got to tell, like you said, the whole truth. You can't tell a portion of it
The
because
whole truth.
the part
So
of
help you God.
yes. And the thing about it is I think that what maybe scares people about telling the truth is, like you said, the hurting of the other people. I know when I started this journey with the podcast, I knew that I was telling my truth and I was going to share it with whoever's going to listen, right? And one of the things that I had to be able to do is I had to talk to the people that were attached to my truth. So that meant I had to go to my parents. I had to go to my sister. I had to go to my husband. I had to go to my son's father. I had to be able to tell them, I'm not saying anything negative about you. I'm not saying anything that doesn't change the relationship that we're in right now. I would never disrespect you, but this is my truth. It's my journey, and I need to be okay with you hearing what it is that I have to say, even if it challenges what you believe to be true. Like, it's my truth. And it scared the bejesus out of me, because I was just like, what if they say no? Right? And then I was like, I mean, if they say no, am I still going to do it or whatever? And thank God they all said, okay. Like, it wasn't that they didn't, even though they didn't know what the truth was going to be and what this journey was going to look like, they all was open to it. Just like, okay, if that's what you feel like you need to do whatever you need to do. But I needed to, in order for me to move forward, I had to feel comfortable enough to be able to tell my story, knowing that I was not intentionally trying to hurt anybody by anything that I've ever, anything that I say. Maybe that's the start of it. Like, I mean, it is a part of telling the truth, but you got to do what you need to do for you. Like, period.
So this sounds really, my clients look at me like with eyes wide open. I'm just like, so what happens if they die?
Yeah.
What happens if they die?
Yeah.
Or what happens if it doesn't work out, this relationship that you're protecting so much? Like, what happens if it doesn't? Like, God forbid that it doesn't. I'm not wishing ill will on anyone.
Yeah.
But we really have to think, like, who's left? Who's left standing?
Yeah.
Who do you wake up with in the morning?
Yeah.
Who do you go to bed with at night? When you look in the mirror, who's looking at you?
Yeah.
You, right? So that means it is up to you to take care of you.
Yeah.
And that starts with telling the truth.
Yeah.
The truth sets you free.
Yeah. And that's not a cliche.
That is not a cliche.
Yeah.
That is in every holy scripture that exists.
Yeah.
The truth will set you free, but you got to tell it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, and look, some people are going to be like, I'm going to turn this off right here. I don't even want to hear 2 through 5. I don't even want to hear 2 through 5.
Yeah. You have to see, telling the truth is the hardest part.
That's very true.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah. Because once you can get over that, the rest is it's a cakewalk.
People spend years in therapy trying to tell the truth. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Because you got to sift through a lot of lies.
Yeah.
Before you can get to the truth.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
You've been living this way for so long. You've been believing this for so long. You've been saying this. You've been acting this way, and people know you as this person.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot that we got to sift through before we can get to that truth. But that's what happens. That's how you get unstuck.
Yeah, that's true. Because you're protecting the image, not the person. You're
protecting the truth that's in your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's there. And so what you've done is you've built a callus around your heart.
Yeah.
So that this thing doesn't hurt you anymore.
Wow.
So you'll do this now. You'll do that now. You'll do this now. You'll do that now. So that all to say this thing doesn't hurt. Like when I say we do mental gymnastics, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I understand it, right? Because that is how we learn to survive. We didn't have, we are the generation that has the privilege of getting help.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Real talk.
Yeah. Our parents didn't have that. Their parents didn't have that. And so what do you have to do? Because life is going to go on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you had to figure out a way to survive. What I'm saying is you have to tell the truth in order to be able to thrive.
Okay, so that's number one.
Number
one,
one,
y'all, tell the truth. Tell the truth.
And the whole truth.
The whole truth.
Everything.
So what's number two?
Number two is you have to accept what has and has not happened.
I don't think you should change the order. 1 and 2 actually
goes. You think that goes?
No, keep it the same. Yes. Now, number 2 is accepting what has and has not happened.
Let me just talk about my mother really quickly. My mother passed away 3 years ago, March 1st. My mother was the sweetest and the meanest woman you'd ever want to meet. And I mean it. She could be mean as a junkyard dog sometimes. Well, she wasn't that well. She was that mean. But she was sweet too. Mm-hmm. There was a lot that we didn't get, you know, and so when I talk about like these traumas, right, we have to understand our family pattern, right? Because if I didn't know that my grandmother gave my mother up and then had another baby and kept that one, if I didn't know that, I wouldn't understand my mother as Trudy and not mommy, and I wouldn't have been able to see her humanity and to see that she is both. She's not either or, she's both and. And so in my process, I just blessed somebody with that.
Yeah, you did.
And so in my process of my own healing, I had to accept that she could not give me what she did not have.
Yes.
And so I had to accept that my mother would cook for me. Like if I was sick, Trudy to the rescue. Like if I needed her to do something for me, she could do that.
Yeah.
She could cook and she could nurse me back to health. She can come and clean the house and she could wash my clothes. But if I wanted somebody to love me, to hug me, to tell me that I was smart, that I was beautiful, I wasn't going to get that from her. And at some point, I had to accept it.
Yeah.
I had to accept that she can't do this for me.
Yeah.
She can't. And the third point, I'm just going to go on into it. The third point, which is just as crucial, is I had to grieve that loss.
Wow.
Point number 3 is you got to grieve that loss. You got to grieve the loss. And we got to grieve people that are still walking.
Yes.
And I had to grieve it and it hurt. And I cried for years. I was in therapy for years. Hell, I'm still in therapy. Not for that.
Yeah, but it don't matter.
Every good therapist is in therapy.
Yeah. Because
don't be scared to ask.
You should, right? You should, because first of all, that the work that therapists do is soul work anyway. So when you take that transferring of that energy of somebody who comes in there, you have to be able to release that so that you can do your work effectively. It does not,
and you don't take that home to your own.
Or you can't. And people don't realize. And I think it's important this is off track a little bit anyway, but I think that anybody who does any work that requires you to have to take on other people's stuff, you gotta have an outlet for that, even if it's leadership, because as a leader, your staff come to you talking to you about the outside issues that have nothing to do with work. And you struggle with how do you manage that, and this person, you're supposed to tell them, I understand that this happened, but are you coming to work tomorrow? It's a struggle, but you gotta figure it out. But yes, grieving the loss of the people that are here and also not here, that is it's a struggle, because reverts back to number 1. You got to tell the truth, because you got to realize what you lost, because sometimes it's not physical.
No.
It's the emotional part of whatever it is that you lost, like that. And you got to know that it's not coming back. Once you grieve it, that isn't coming back. Yeah.
So there's another thing that we have to grieve that is rarely unspoken. It's the hope that we have that it could be different.
Yeah. Man, that's a word right there.
We got to grieve it. You have to reconcile the fact that you may never get it.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, And what are you going to do?
Can you be okay?
Yeah. Can you be okay with them leaving? Can you be okay with them saying they can't give you that? Can you be okay with that not turning out the way
Mm-hmm.
you hope that it would turn out?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to still be able to function, to
Mm-hmm.
still be able to live and thrive. Because sometimes once you go through that, you got to be honest with yourself that, okay, if I can't get that, it's going to break me. But will it really?
Well, no, because it's your responsibility to get your own needs met.
Wow.
And
Because
so daddy didn't meet your need, mommy didn't meet your need, but it's up to you now. So we have to go internal.
yeah.
So how can you build that internal fortitude to get your own needs met?
Yeah.
Because mommy and daddy can't do it for you now anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. What's number 4? This is so good. This is so good. What's number 4? Okay, so we're telling the truth, accepting what has and has not happened, grieving the loss and the possibility of hope. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to that, and the possibility of hope.
Yeah.
And what would number 4 be?
Now you got to define or redefine your boundaries.
Listen.
Because life's got to look different now.
Yeah.
Your thoughts have to be different. What you say to yourself has to be different. And what you do, it's got to be different.
Yeah.
So what used to work for you, you know why people come to therapy? Because what they've been doing don't work no more.
It ain't working. Then they got to try something different.
It ain't working.
Yeah.
This no longer works for us.
Yeah. And so what would, just I guess a little asterisk here too, like what does redefining boundaries look like? Is it depending on whatever it is you're healing from, or is it kind of generally the same?
No, that's such an individualized answer.
Okay.
Because what you need and what I need are
two different things. Yeah.
Right. So I'll just use this as an example. I have a client who lost her mom when she was 9. And so, and she's a very dark-skinned girl, gorgeous, gorgeous, tall, like, I mean, just like, my God, girl, hey, boo. That's bae. She doesn't see that. And part of the reason she doesn't see it is because, one, she lost her mom at such a long time, at such an early age, but then she had to move. Her father lived. Father had other wives and other children and wouldn't feed them and said stuff about her because she was dark skinned and just really, really, really played with her self-esteem. And so it became this like tape, right? And so everything that is happening to her is filtered through this, no one loves me.
Yeah.
The only person that ever loved me was my mom.
Yeah.
And so we've just gotten to the point where she has been able to say no. She doesn't have to, and she's the middle child of her mother's and father's children. She's the middle child. And so she, middle children are always like the peacemaker. They're always the bridge. Bridge was killing her, showing up to every event because none of the other kids showed up.
Yeah.
Like being that responsible child, just doing all of these things that she didn't want to do and just being so depleted at the end.
Yeah.
And so she had to learn how to say no. So that she could create a space for herself.
Yeah.
Where she could do some of the things that she enjoys doing.
Right. Instead of having to be there for everybody else.
Yeah. Client, your boundary might be saying yes. Please go out on a date.
Right.
I mean, how much more does the dude have to do to let you know that he's interested?
He's showing up. He's there. Yeah. Right. Standing outside. And you still looking out the window. No.
Sometimes it just might be stop. It just really depends.
Varies. Yeah.
But see, this is why you need the help
to figure it out.
Partnership of a therapist to be able to help you sift through what's going on inside of you.
Yeah.
If you knew how to do that, you'd be healed.
Yeah. Like you said, it's individualized because if those people are connected, because, we do a lot of self-therapy by trying to like talk to our friends and, well, she doing that and she like seem like she getting better. What you doing, girl? Let me tell you, let's figure out what you doing. I'm going to try that and see it. But no, her journey is her journey. His journey
Mm-hmm.
is different from mine. So it's going to look different, and our healing is going to look different.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it takes you 2 years to get through number one,
which it does.
Yeah,
it does. There's a lot of filters. There's a lot of there's so much stuff that goes into it, and it's like it's honest. It's an attempt to survive.
Yeah. Okay, so we're defining or redefining boundaries. What is number 5?
Number 5 is you got to take a risk by making a different choice.
I don't know. 1 and 5 is scary. Oh, listen. Oh, take a risk. Okay.
I mean, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten.
Yeah.
So you have to do something different.
Yeah, you got to do something different. Yeah, that is a struggle right there, because somebody, sometimes taking the risk, and that's scary all over again. But if you want, like you said, you want a different result, you have to do something different. So you got to be, and like you said, if you've gotten through 1 through 4, that process should have built up your confidence. If you really did number 1, if you really told the truth, then the rest of it should be easier. And taking, even though not to say it's not going to be scary, to do something different, but the first time you say no, when you feel guilty about saying it, is going to be so freeing. The first time you say yes, when you told yourself these things, the first time that you do the thing that you've been wanting to do, making that video on YouTube or whatever,
I mean, you're right, though.
Yeah,
you are right.
You
have to make a different choice.
Yeah, that is these steps are really, really good. Like, all of these steps require work. Like, each and every step requires your own personal work. Like you said in the beginning, you all facilitate the space. You facilitate the safe space to be able to do the work, but it's up to the individual to actually do the work. And if you don't do the work, you hinder your progress. You hinder your healing, ultimately, because can't nobody make you do it. Can't nobody make you heal. Can't nobody make you get to where you're trying to get to. You have to do the work.
It's not anybody else's work to do.
Yeah.
It's yours, your life.
Yeah.
And you decide, I believe that we have the power to live life exactly as we want to.
Agreed.
We choose the life we want.
Yeah, that's so true.
We choose it.
Yeah.
And so if this is the choice that you keep making all the time, I just have to accept that that's the life that you want. You don't want that life.
Then you do something different.
Then you gotta make different choices.
Yeah, that is absolutely, that is so true, because you think sometimes it's just so easy to be able to say, I can't do that. This is the way it is. Or hear people say, this is the way I always been. It is what it is. It really isn't. If you're willing to do the work necessary to make the difference, then it can be different. But it's the fear of what that difference may look like, you know what I mean? And just being married to the idea of I don't want to say like the mirage, but like whatever I guess even what you were saying, like the possibility of hope. Yeah. Like you just,
it's married to a level of comfortability.
Yeah. And you gotta get uncomfortable. You gotta get uncomfortable in order to change.
I have a client right now who, we're working working with this accomplishment. Like, she has to be meeting a goal, and she does not like her job. The job that she wants pays significantly less. But it's like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But are you going to keep showing up to this job on purpose?
Yeah.
And complaining about it not being what you want it to be, your life having no passion, your life having no fulfillment, how you come alive when you go and you do your community service. And I get it, right? You have a whole financial component around it, but I mean, come on now.
Yeah. No, and
I'll never be broke. never be broke because this is what I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
I'll never be broke. But, you know, everybody has their thing. And, you know, people got to do it when they're ready.
Yeah, that's very true. You can't force
Just,
people into their change.
But you got to make a different choice. Hell, I left my $80,000 government job to be a therapist.
Listen,
Bye.
It's that
I hate this job.
Yeah.
I hate this job. I went to work and I died for 8 hours a day. I sat there dying for 8 hours a day because that is not what I was designed to do. And the longer I did it, the harder it got, the more I hated it.
Yeah.
So eventually I was just like, you know what? Fuck this.
I'm out. Here
I am.
And you know what's so crazy? Like everyone knows my journey in doing this. I've actually loved my job. I enjoyed the people that I work with. I didn't like the stress of it all, but it was affecting my family. It was affecting my marriage. It was affecting my mood. It was affecting my energy. And I'm not making no money. I'm not selling anything. I'm not doing anything. But when I tell you I am the happiest I've ever been, and I get $0 and 0 cents every day, like you can't, I can't even describe it. And so every time honestly,
money can't buy you peace.
It cannot buy you peace. And even when I think about working sometimes, if I like, ultimately, I know that if it came down to it and I need to do what I need to do, I'm bye, you know, still do this, but I got to go to work. You got to do what you need to do. But I know that as long as God continues to provide and make sure that we still have a roof over our head, lights in the house, and then food on the table, I'm good with the bare minimum because I'm doing what he's called me to do. And when he's ready to fully provide in the area that I'm in, he will. And that's a different type of, you know, faith. That's a different level of it. But it also, I did the work. I've been doing it. It didn't happen overnight. It took me two and a half years to get to here, you know, but I did the work to be able to say, I'm comfortable. Yeah. And I took the risk. Right. So if I think about it,
and look at how it's paid off.
It's blessing me. It's blessing my family. My husband told my kids said the other day, "Mommy, you just ain't so stressed out." And so he was like, "No, she is not. Let me tell you." She is not. She is much better. Like a much better person now. And I was like, okay then. Was that a trigger for you? Like, what is going on? I was like, yes, Mommy is a much better person now. I'm much happier. But you don't realize it again. I thought that I was happy, but I didn't realize how it was affecting me. So, and that's sometimes your healing, you may not see it. It shows up in the people around you that you got to do
feel
something.
it. Yeah. You feel it and you'll see it. You'll see how you're growing.
Yeah.
You'll feel it. You'll feel different.
Yeah. It's worth it, y'all. I'm just telling you, it's worth it to do the work.
You have to do the work.
Yes.
There is no going over. There's no going under. There's no going around. You have to go through.
Yes, ma'am. So for people who would like to get unstuck, how can people connect with you? You know, in addition to these, this is the third time, YouTube videos that you can start doing. How can people connect to you with you in real life? How can they connect to your office?
So in real life, the best way to get in contact with my office is through email.
Okay.
And that is info@Unstuck Counseling, info@UNSTUCKCOUNSELING.com. That is the best way to contact us. We have a phone number though, 240-806-8401. You may not get an answer because we are in session, but we can easily respond to an email. We respond to email 5, maybe 6 days a week.
Okay.
That is your best bet. Tell us why you're interested in coming. We accept insurance. We accept self-pay.
That is awesome. I'll put this in the show notes. That'll be in there so people. I will put that in the show notes so people can connect with you. Thank you so much for doing this. I feel like we could have gone a whole nother hour, but we got to have you back on, because just listen, I can't. I'm at a loss for words, because I'm just like, I had a whole healing session over here on my own, y'all. I just want y'all to know that y'all definitely, this was a blessing for me. I hope that everybody got something, because you dropped a lot of gems today to just really cause people to start thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Yeah. Sometimes that's just the start, that like you don't even know until someone says it and you like, maybe that is me. So I definitely encourage you all to reach out to Valyncia and her Unstuck Counseling group, to really start your healing process, because you will thank you. Okay. If don't nobody else thank you, you will thank yourself.
You deserve healing. You deserve wholeness.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Valyncia. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I will come back anytime.
All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self-Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.